And thank you very much for joining us live on the Joy News channel and also live on Joy 99.7 FM. My guest this evening is Alan Kojo Chemante. Very recently resigned from the New Patriotic Party. Of course, until Monday, he was a founding member of the party. He was a cabinet minister once before, of course, early January. And of course, you know by now that he has formed the new movement, a movement for change. We're going to talk a lot about that change, that movement that he's seeking to lead. And he says it will be anchored by the youth. We'll talk about that. But of course, he is part of a tradition that has defined our fourth Republican history. And so we'll spend a few more time talking about that too. Mr. Chemante, thank you very much for joining us on Joy News and also on Joy 99.7 FM.
Thank you, Evans.
You've been very busy in the last few days.
Yes, indeed.
You know, and I was listening to you on Monday, and you were talking about how long you've served the MPP since 1992. And like when a divorce happens, you wander outside and you say, does it feel strange to be looking at the party you served all your life from the outside? Since Monday when you called it quits? It must feel strange.
Well, I don't see that as being strange. I'm a founding member of the party. I've served the party in various capacities and in government, I believe with distinction. It's time for me to move on, and I've moved on. So basically, there are no bad ill feelings. I've moved on, and that's what it is.
And since Monday, have any of your good friends in the party called to try and see if there's any possibility of bringing you back? Yesterday, I was speaking to one of your good friends, Kojo Pening, on my show. I don't know if you listened.
Yeah.
And he says the party should try and get you back. Has anybody reached out?
Well, I've been busy, so I haven't had time to have that interaction directly. But I've moved on.
You go independent?
Yes.
Why?
Well, because, Evans, what I think Ghana needs now, looking at where we are as a country, where we've come from, where we are and where we want to go, my sense is that what we need is a new leader, not a new party or set of parties. Because we are talking about how to transform our country. We've been going through, 66 years of nationhood with varying fortunes. You have a dominance of two parties, a duopoly, since 1992, I guess. But that hasn't significantly transformed and changed the fortunes of our country. My sense is that, yes, there's a role for political parties in our democratic governance structure. But when it comes to selecting a leader, the presidential candidate, to elect a presidential candidate to become the president, my sense is that you are looking to elect someone on his own merit, his or her own merit. Because, you know, we have a constitution that seems to locate very strong powers to one man, who is the president. So I believe that.
Now is the chance to use reliable energy to grow your money with the Dominion Energy Reliability Investment. Our new investment product offers competitive returns, no maintenance fees, and flexible online access to your money. Make the reliable investment in reliable energy. The Dominion Energy Reliability Investment. To find out more, go online to reliabilityinvestment.com. That's reliabilityinvestment.com.
Find the brands, inspiration, and great value you need to own your style at Macy's VIP sale, going on now. Use your coupon or Macy's card and take an extra 30% off fall trends and updates. Plus 15% off go-to beauty, skincare, and fragrances. Plus shop specials and find great deals on top brands at Macy's VIP sale. Savings off regular sale and clearance prices. Exclusions apply.
And now a special motorcycle weather report from Progressive.
Well, today you can expect lots of cloud cover with 0% chance of raining on your parade because you'll be riding your motorcycle vroom vroom. That rumbling low-pressure system beneath you should give way to a relaxing commute and the sudden urge to take the scenic route everywhere you go because, dagnabbit, you're having fun out there. That's your forecast. Back to you.
This has been a special motorcycle weather report from Progressive, where every day's a beautiful day to ride with coverage from America's #1 motorcycle insurer. Get a quote today and see what you could save. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
The nature of the powers and authority that the Constitution grants to this one man requires us to select that individual on the basis of what he has done, what he can do in the future by himself, not on the basis of the party. But then obviously, because we have a legislature, you need the parties to be able also to mobilize their constituencies and their constituents to select individuals who will represent them in Parliament. Mm-hmm. But those are two different functions, the legislative function and the executive function. So in a situation where the divisive nature of our politics has kind of drawn us back with our development, it only makes sense that for the first time in the history of our party, that we should try a new model. A model where you have an honest broker, somebody who sits in the middle and is able to galvanize support and bring different interest groups, political interest groups, business interest groups, people from all walks of life, rich, poor, young, old, together in a government of national unity. Because what I believe is impeding our progress is that there's too much politicking now associated with the functions of government and the functions of parliament. So my change agenda that I'm hoping to pursue has 4 dominant themes.
And we'll come to explore that in detail.
Yeah,
but what convinces you that Ghanaians are ready for an independent candidate?
No, it's not about Ghanaians being ready for an independent candidate. It's about making a case for an independent candidate.
Is that an admission?
It's about making a case for an independent candidate on the basis of what the current model has done for.
Is that an admission that you conceive you're not ready yet, but you want to attempt to change that?
Well,
change our minds to see you as a credible alternative to the duopoly?
Yes, because as I've explained, we've had varying fortunes in terms of our own country's advancement and development. In my considered opinion, the duopoly has created more division in our politics than otherwise. So why do we want to continue on that? Why would you want to continue on that tangent? Why would you think that the results will be any different going forward with the same kind of model? So, like everything else, if it doesn't work, you think outside the box. By the way, this is not the first experience in Africa, for example, where you have an independent candidate becoming the president of a republic. In Benin, close by, the current president, a very successful one, came in as an independent candidate, completely outside the existing parties. In his case, in actual fact, he came from the business community. So it is not that it cannot be done. The fact that it's not been done in Ghana does not mean that it cannot be done, and does not mean that that is what we need to do. So I'm making a case for it.
The Benny example, you say he was completely out of the system.
Yes, political, yes.
Alan Chemanting is a product of the duopoly.
Yeah.
You're a product of the system.
Yeah.
Why should voters trust you that you'll be different?
Why would people do it?
Why should voters trust you that you'll be different when you are a product of the duopoly?
Well, but if you're a product of the duopoly and the analysis suggests that the duopoly has not conveyed the kind of benefits that the duopoly should, then the fact that somebody who has been part of the duopoly cannot be the agent for change. I'm trying to understand where the logic would be that because you've been part of a particular system, you cannot be the change agent for another business model. There's nothing to suggest that the fact that you're part of a system, that you cannot come out of the system to lead a change process.
The reason why that is obviously an issue is your critique of the system. The system is a reason why we are where we are.
Yes, one of the reasons.
One of the reasons.
Yes.
Then it stands to reason that if you've been part of it, then you've also been part of the reason why we are where we are.
Yes, but it doesn't matter that you've been part of the system. If you can come out of the system and be the agent of change, because we're looking at how do we improve our chances of advancement. The current system has not worked for us. Are you seeming to suggest that we should continue to do exactly the same thing?
But are you the one to do it differently?
And in actual fact, in my case, I believe so. Because even once I've been part of the current model, I've always preached that we need to be able to prosecute a political agenda that moves Ghana towards a united government. I've always preached that.
When did you do that, and how?
And that is why you find that I cut across the political divide.
You say you did that. I'm curious. You do this when you were in government, when in cabinet?
Well, that has been part of my political. I don't know whether you know me well enough.
That is what I'm asking.
But that has been.
For many people listening to you, they're wondering. So when he says he did that, did you do that when you were part of the system, and how did you do it?
Oh, how do I do it? My perspectives on politics, my disposition, the kinds of development orientation that I have pursued. So the fact that you have not monitored that, or you have not been in a position to know my thinking on these matters, would not suggest that it has not been.
Did you try to get the system whilst you were in it to appreciate these views when you were in there?
But I'm saying that that has been my perspective.
And how forcefully did you push it though?
And the fact that it has not been able to change the status quo provides a reason for me to come out of the stat system, because you have an option to create change within a particular system that you find yourself in. If that is not working, does it not provide a reason for you to come out of that system and now chart a new path towards what you believe to be the preferred path?
And I'm curious why it didn't hold sway with your own colleagues when you were in the system, when you were pushing this.
But Evans, I'm not sure that I should answer that question. I'm not sure why I should answer that question. And It is not.
They didn't listen to you?
It is not about trying to change the mindset of other people within my party alone. We are talking about Ghana, an agenda to change Ghana. So if that understanding of my perspective does not dominate the politics in the system that I find myself, I don't see any reason why I cannot take my case directly to the people of Ghana. Because after all, ultimately, we owe the authority and power to govern to the people. And so I'm taking my case directly to the people. I would have preferred that I would have used the vehicle that I helped to nurture, which is my party. I would have hoped that that would have been the vehicle to pursue that development orientation that I believe in. But hey, if it's not possible, why not?
Why wasn't it possible?
Well, it's difficult to make that judgment. I mean, you can't get that answer from me alone. You have to, next time you have the opportunity, try and find out from other people, you know, why is it that we have not been able to work towards a more united governance structure? Because obviously, the kind of politics that has characterized the duopoly now is what leads to a winner-takes-all agenda. Do you understand me? I'm saying that this system is what generally leads to a winner-takes-all political system. And I don't believe in that. So I believe that if you have talent that resides in other political organizations, if you have talent that resides in the business community, if you have talent that resides in the labor community, if you believe that the youth ought to be the vanguard of the development of our nation, and if that's not possible within the constraints of the kind of political thoughts process in your own party, is there anything wrong if you come out of the system to advance that cause? I do not see why.
And as we exploring your vision, you have said, and I've been asking you about your contributions, because you were part of the system. You were saying you were raising these issues you wanted to raise, but you didn't have enough traction there. You've said in your press conference that you now are at a place where you're convinced that system you were part of no longer appreciated what you had to offer. But the evidence suggests otherwise. This is a system in the party that gave you an opportunity to serve as a trades minister. That is definitely appreciating you as an individual and what you bring to the table in contrary to the agenda for change, at least from the MPP's point of view.
But I think you're missing the point. So let me just illustrate it. So, as individuals in a party, in government, my belief is that we need to prioritize, let's say, industrialization or private sector development. I mean, the basic principle in economics is that you operate on the principle of scarcity and choice. So you have to prioritize. So you deploy resources in line with your priorities. My sense is that for a country like ours, for us to be able to transform our country, let's say we need to prioritize industrialization. Now, if it doesn't happen, that becomes the dominant view, let's say in the party, for example, or in government, then it makes sense for me to pursue an ambition to occupy the highest level of executive authority that allows me to prioritize what I believe will bring about the change and transformation.
But you were
that
part of a government that made industrialization a priority.
Yes.
That put you in charge of executing what one time you believed to be one of the boldest agendas to industrialize, one district, one factory. So how do you say then that you didn't have enough traction around the vision that you had? That definitely was one that you were in charge of executing.
I'm talking about prioritizing the deployment of resources to be able to achieve a certain objective.
But that was a priority for your party, wasn't it?
No, I'm talking about deploying resources.
Okay.
So if that is the priority...
Did they exist in name then? Because you were inside. For us who stood outside and listened to you before...
I want to understand, you said it existed in name.
The priority that you championed. The belief we had and what we had...
I championed.
That you championed.
Yes, I championed.
Yes.
So it didn't mean that...
You say you didn't have the resources.
But that's clear. And I'm suggesting to you that if you have a governance structure with different priorities, and because of limited resources, the decision, for example, and arguably that could be one way to proceed. If, for example, we decide to prioritize one sector over the other, well, that's the
One District, One Factory was a flagship policy.
But we had many flagship policies.
Yeah, but was one of the flagships, which means that it's been prioritized, and therefore you expect resources to go there.
But I guess you're still not listening to you. I'm saying that if you have a number of flagship programs and you have limited resources, of course, then you deploy the resources based on the type of priority settings that you may have. And I'm saying that one individual may prioritize education above industrialization. Somebody may prioritize digitization above industrialization. Another may prioritize health over, because you have limited resources. So I'm submitting that in my case, although you have all these as priorities and flagship programs, the allocation of resources, which is the basis for achieving optimum levels of growth in a particular sector, if that is what I believe in, then when I occupy the highest level of executive authority, then I can reorder the priorities and deploy resources in a manner that allows me to be able to realize my vision.
I mean, and my question that I've been asking is, because I'm talking to Alan Chamanting, who has a history. What you're suggesting is, now if you get to stand by yourself, then that becomes a sole priority where you put in the resources.
Not sole priority.
The priority, important priority, where you put resources. It stands to reason that you're also suggesting that although you were trade minister, you didn't have the required resources.
The required resources
to deliver. That's what you're suggesting.
There's no doubt about that, but this is something that you can easily interrogate. I mean, look at the allocation of resources amongst the flagship programs. It's very easy to verify that, and I mean, obviously...
But that wasn't the picture we got when you were in charge. We got a picture that everything was okay.
But don't talk about the picture that you I mean, if that's my priority...
And you give us a picture because you were the minister then, that everything was fine. You were executing a project, you had the resources, you were achieving one district, one factory.
But respectfully, I'm not sure that I understand what you are saying. That I gave the impression that I had all the resources.
Yes, you did.
What was the basis of that impression?
Because each time you give us an update on the one district, one factory, never once did you say that, listen, we don't have all the resources to do this in the way that you wanted it to.
When did you engage me in a conversation where this matter came up? How many times have you had an interaction with me? So you cannot make a judgment in a vacuum unless you had specifically had an engagement with me in which, and at any rate, does it require me to make public statements about the decisions that we've taken in budget, in cabinet, about the deployment of resources? Is that appropriate for me to make public pronouncements about the fact that I believe that we should prioritize industrialization in terms of deployment of resources? Is that what you are suggesting? Is that the basis for sitting in as part of cabinet, that you go around making pronouncements? Is that what you're, because I'm trying to understand why either you find it strange or you're suggesting that you didn't hear me talk about it. And because if you had a personal conversation with me and that issue had come up, then I would say that yes, Evans.
I have the opportunity now. How hard did you fight for what you believe in when you were in cabinet?
How hard? I don't think that should be the subject matter for this discussion. I've explained to you that the public records are there. If you are an investigative journalist, you do investigation thoroughly, it is very easy for you to check the budget allocation, for various flagship programs, and you get the answer there. The answer will lie in the belly of the statistics. So we don't need to spend executive time belaboring this point.
Yeah,
because you can find that information by yourself. And if, for example, you are coming into an interview, and you wanted to understand why I'm now talking about prioritizing industrialization and being in government, you would probably have done that research.
But you were the man in charge. I'm just asking the man in charge. Yeah. Where else could you get primary information than the man who was in charge? And I'm asking you right now that question.
I would suggest to you that that source of information is available publicly.
But you were the ultimate voice on this matter. So it's fair to ask you these questions as well, because you are the ultimate.
Let's move on, because I think.
But I ask you these questions.
That that's what you need to do as a media man. Go to the public records, because what I tell you may not necessarily be the case. Well, there's certainty, more certainty in public records. So why would you not check the public records and find out?
But I still need to ask you, which is what I was asking you. But the reason why I was asking these questions. About that work.
Yeah.
Well, because since you announced your resignation, the MPP had held a press conference and have branded what you've said, a lot of what you said, as untrue, in addition to some of the things that you've claimed.
What is not true? What did they say?
For example, you said that the party had been hijacked by a certain group of people. They said that is absolutely not true.
Yeah.
They've actually held a press conference to say, in addition to that you said the Superdelegates conference has been skewed to favor one candidate. They emphatically again in the press conference say that is simply not true, because almost 900 plus people who voted could all not have been skewed for one person. They have challenged you on that matter, and if you want to be president, integrity is key. You've listened to the party say what you put out as fundamental reasons for quitting, hijacking the party, the skewing of the superdelegates, are all not true, just making up excuses to leave.
Evans, very respectfully, I granted you an opportunity for this interview, not for me to discuss the press conference of the NPP. I've made an open declaration that I want to set a record in Ghana, to ask the people of Ghana to elect me as the first independent candidate to become president, because I believe that that is the model that will help our country move forward. My desire is for you to focus on that for the benefit of the people of Ghana. And the three core functions of journalism is to educate, inform, and entertain. So your primary responsibility in interviewing someone who has put forward a plan, a case, to interrogate me on these matters. I have no appetite or interest in having a banter about what I have said and what party officials are saying. I don't think that it helps me and the people of this country to keep on having conversations, and this is not the first media interview that I've had. Look, I'm part of a system. I've been a senior member of a party. I've done what I can. It was time for me to move on. I've moved on. Let's talk about the future.
That is well the case, and we'll do that. That's how we started talking about your vision, and we'll return to that substantively. Okay. But as you all know, you're a politically astute individual. But in any campaign, as you run as president, your record always comes up for scrutiny. Now, it's in line with that these questions are important, because you have strong voices, people that you're friends with, and you were in the same group with. Question that very track record.
Question which track record?
The track record of some of the things you've said when you were exiting. And I believe it's right to put that to you, to address it if you want to. Except you say you don't want to address those track record issues that have been raised.
I told you that I didn't have the appetite to have a banter about that. I've put out a public statement that, in my view, based on the combination of circumstances and the processes that were involved in the run-up to the Superdelegates Conference pronouncements, that in my view, in my considered opinion, that the processes have been skewed in favor of one. And that is my own assessment. If somebody else feels that that is not his assessment, why do we have to spend executive time to debate that? And what is your interest? What is your interest in debating that? Because that is my position on the matter. And everybody else is at liberty to have their own opinion about this matter. So I very respectfully feel that this is not the proper use of time for us to now make a case. If I make this case now, they've made their case. Let the people decide. It's as simple as that.
And you say the people must decide.
Yes.
One of the things that you put before the people when you did your press conference was this great transformational plan.
Yes.
You say, quote, 10 pillars. One of them, promoting industrial transformation. If I'm quoting, means I've read it. So that's my answer to you. Through value addition and the establishment of strategic anchor industries. This is you, to diversify the Ghanaian economy. This will also involve the establishment of industrial parks and special economic zones, as well as the aggressive promotion of small and medium scale enterprise development. That is one of the pillars. Now, the key question I have, if I may,
point of order, respectfully.
No, if I may,
do you understand a point of order? I've asked
because this is an interview. I know because you're polite, but I need to ask my question. Then you understand what I'm saying.
How do you interview somebody and you do not allow him to?
First of all, is this part of your 10 pillars?
But that's the reason why I'm trying to.
But I would like to
raise
ask.
the point
I'd like
of
to ask my question based on what you have said. We're interrogating the vision, which is what you said you wanted to do. Yes. So let me ask the question. My question is, promoting industrial transformation. You had 4 years as trade minister under John Kufuor. You've had 6 years of trade minister under Nana-Addo. A combination of 10 years. If you didn't do what you're proposing now to do in the future in 10 years, why should we trust that you can do it now?
I'll come back to correcting what you said. And I expect you, since you're a seasoned journalist, to read your material before the interview. It does not say that the transformation plan has 10 pillars. If you read it, it's not 10 pillars. It's the industrial transformation component of the transformation plan that has the 10 pillars.
Well, I'm asking
so you need to understand.
I'm asking you a specific question, Mr. Chairman, about the great transformational plan. And I'm isolating your promoting industrial transformation. That's all I'm asking.
No, but then the 10 is not the transformational plan.
I don't want to focus
different from
on
the industrial transformation.
I'm asking you a question.
Yes.
About the industrial.
But why don't you admit then that the transformation plan is the broader plan? The industrial component is only one component.
I take your word for it.
Okay.
I take your word for it. But my question stands.
Yes. Okay.
Promoting industrialization.
Yes.
I'm asking a simple question.
Yeah.
You've had a total of 10 years.
Yeah.
John Kufuor,
Yeah.
President Akufo-Addo, as trade minister to champion that.
Yeah.
If in 10 years you haven't done this, why should we trust that you can do this now?
But are you making a judgment on the fact that it has not been done? And what is the basis of your judgment? Because here you are referring to an industrial transformation plan that I've put forward. And you're making a judgment that it has not been done. What is the basis for that judgment? Well, because if, again, I think you have to give me the opportunity to speak. You are interviewing me, allow me to speak.
I think I'm doing that.
Now you want to be the one that is basically being interviewed?
I think I'm doing that.
So I'm wondering why you are making a judgment that I've had 10 years and I've not been able to do it. What is the basis? What is the basis for that conclusion that you've come to?
You've said
yes.
in your plan that this is something you want to do. It's your plan. It's your vision.
Yes.
Is your vision or not?
Yes.
If it's a vision,
yes.
It means in there inheriting that is a belief, is an statement that this is something that hasn't been done that you plan to do.
I'm very surprised that you make that conclusion.
It's a vision, is it not?
So, for example, you say that my vision is to, let's say, generate, or let's put it simply, that you want to transform Ghana. Just listen to me carefully. You want to transform Ghana, and you have a plan for that, the Great Transformational Plan. And if you read it, there are 15 components of this transformational plan, not 10. That's what I wanted to correct you on. Now, one of the components of the transformational plan is industrial transformation. And now you are seeming to suggest that because that is part of the transformational plan, it means that it has not been done.
Has it been done?
To a very large extent.
Let's read the specifics.
Yes.
True value addition.
Yes.
The establishment of strategic anchor industries.
Can we just stay on
to
those
diversify the Ghanaian economy?
Yes. Can we just stay on that?
You're saying that as we speak right now, we have true value addition.
Yes.
And established strategic anchor to diversify the Ghanaian economy.
Yes. So you allow me to answer the questions very respectfully. I'm not under investigation.
No,
you're not interrogating.
Absolutely.
And you have no right to posture your interviewing as if you've made up your mind about what is it that you are. So you ask a question. You are looking at a number of things that it's on paper I have talked about. So allow me to answer. Number one, value addition. Have you heard about the One District, One Factory initiative? It's a direct question. We've
talked about that in this interview.
So you've heard about One District, One Factory. 80%, I'll probably even think that it's more than that, of what has been involved in the One District is value addition, either agro-processing or garment and textiles, and you name it. I mean, because that is what industrialization is about. It's about value addition. So the One District, One Factory program, to a large extent, represents the value addition efforts that I've been talking about. So what else do you want to I mean, what are you talking about? During President Kufuor's time, I introduced the presidential special initiatives. I talked about 4 sectors at that time: garments and textiles, oil palm, industrial salt, and industrial starch from cassava. Even at that time, I was still talking about value addition. All these sectors, and if we have time, we can have a very decent conversation about the presidential special initiatives. Those were examples of value addition. So you're asking me about value addition. If you've done your homework, you would know that whether it's under the PSIs or whether it's under the one district, one factory, that's all about value addition. So let's move on to the next point.
It's important that this question is something I put to you. So this is a vision of yours.
Yes.
It's a vision.
Yes.
It's a place you want to take Ghana.
Yes. Yes.
But here you are saying that you've already done it.
Do you understand?
That it's a vision. It's a vision. It's a place you want to take us. It's a reason why you want to be independent candidate.
I think.
And I'm asking a simple question that you want to get there.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm asking because something you've stated very clearly.
Yes.
One, everybody wants to know first, what did you do in your time, which is what you've explained.
Yes,
okay?
I've explained.
Exactly.
But you accept
and then I don't have an opinion on that.
Okay.
And then the next question is, how do you plan to achieve this specifically?
Yes.
How do you plan to get us to this vision that you've articulated, which is what I read for you? What's the plan to get there?
If you have a vision, it would symbolize that it is a vision that you realize over a period of time. Do you understand that clearly? That you realize that in incremental stages over a period of time. So the ultimate, when you get there, you would have fulfilled your vision. But it evolves. The vision is not realized as an event. It evolves. And what I'm suggesting to you, that if you've done your homework, all these initiatives, whether it's the PSIs or 1D, 1F, would demonstrate that that process of industrialization, value addition, has been initiated. And because it's a process, and the ultimate goal, for example, will be the manufacturing hub or the industrial hub in Africa. So you may not be there yet, but that's the vision. There are incremental stages to get to that vision. But the good thing is that, exactly as you said, I've made significant landmark achievements towards realizing the vision. So I'm not sure why you have a conceptual difficulty in understanding, because this is my vision, and that I've started, and so I cannot talk about it being my vision. Is that what you're suggesting?
No, it's a question.
Well, but if you're
about
asking
how you plan. This is just a simple
right.
question.
Okay.
About the specific steps, and you laid a bit out when you did the press conference. How you plan to take us to that promised land? For which reason you want to stand as an independent candidate? And your answer to that is that you've laid the foundations.
I've laid the foundations.
Yes,
absolutely.
Yes, and that's the foundation.
And the material difference is that if I have the opportunity to occupy the highest level of executive authority, then I am empowered to be able to realize that vision much quicker. That's the whole narrative.
Any time frame for you?
Well, I've said that I want 2025 to 2035 to be what I describe Ghana's decade of transformation, industrial transformation. So that's the target. And if at the GTP, it provides a sense of the kind of things that I believe would help us.
And GTP, by the way, is a great transformational plan.
Sorry?
The GTP, by the way, is a great
transformational plan. So if you look at the great transformational plan, the first pillar in the transformational plan is how to fix our economy. Because if you don't have a stable macroeconomic environment, then you cannot go on to be talking about industrial transformation. You cannot talk about agricultural revolution, which are all components of the transformational plan. So if you take your time and read the transformational plan, it's not just the framework, because you need a framework first, but there are specific policy prescriptions that I have recommended, which will help us stabilize our currency, which will help us to bring inflation down to single digits on a sustainable basis.
How do you do that?
Well, we don't have time to go into all the policy prescriptions.
But just on the two you mentioned.
Yes.
Because it's a current live challenge.
Yes, absolutely. Let's work on stable currency.
What's your prescription?
So the whole point about currency stabilization is the supply and demand of foreign exchange. That's what currency stabilization is about. If you export more, you are able to earn more foreign exchange resources. If you earn more foreign exchange resources and you reduce the use of forex to import, that's if you start producing things locally, which you were importing, then you save foreign exchange. And meanwhile, if you are exporting, you get more foreign exchange. So the supply of foreign exchange increases. When the supply of foreign exchange increases, then it means that the ratio of how much you need of local currency to exchange for the dollar, then improves. Because that's basic economics. So that is why, if, for example, you have limited foreign exchange, then it means that you need more cedis. More cedis are chasing the limited dollar reserve that you have. The moment you have more cedis trying to chase the few dollars that you have, then obviously it means that your currency is getting weaker. So if, for example, you had to change, let's say, because of supply and demand, if you needed 10 cedis to be able to get $1, and all of a sudden you have a limited flow of dollars, it means that more people now want dollars. So you have to bid higher. Now you need, let's say, 20 cedis to be able to get $1. That's where the weakening of the local currency occurs.
Alan Kyerematen, we wish you the best.
Thank you.
The people will be the ultimate judges.
Yes, very much so.
Yes. And you've just been listening to Alan Kyerematen, my guest. Enjoy the rest of the evening. Thank you again.
Thank you.